Make moi moi and akara with me this evening. I remember vividly when I was younger that my mom would make akara or moi moi every Saturday morning, I believe, and we would always have that with pap or custard or gari, whichever one you wanted. And I wasn't really a huge fan of akara, but I liked moi moi. So anytime she made akara, it was alternated. So it's either moi moi or akara. So anytime she made akara, I would always like just grumble and just eat a few pieces and take more of my pap or gari. But nowadays, I find that I started eating akara with bread and I loved it. Anybody that has eaten akara and bread before knows that that's the real deal, especially like the ones that you buy on the roadside. Anyways, I'm trying my hands on making moi moi and akara because my husband absolutely loves anything that has to do with beans. I don't know, they use beans to do him. So I got up and made, akara, blended my beans. Actually, first you have to wash the beans. I washed my beans, then blended it and added some. Yeah, so you add some peppers, maybe habanero and or Scotch bonnet, and then tatashe, and then onion. So you blend that smooth. I usually like to blend my moi moi a little bit of a watery consistency because I find that it gives it a more fluffy feel after you've added your eggs in it. So now I'm seasoning my moi moi. I didn't realize that the seasoning, so I was trying a new seasoning for my food, and I didn't realize that it wasn't as catchy as the usual no that I use. So shout out to no for being catchy. I'm going back to no. I've relinquished everything I had with this seasoning here. So it wasn't as tasty as I would want it to be, but it was still tasty. So I've added my seasoning cubes, crayfish, and salt, just a little salt because I usually don't like to add too much salt to my food. You can see here I'm tasting it, and then you mix it very well. You mix it very well. I got that from CCME. So anytime I want to make something, I usually watch CCME's videos. So you mix it very well, and then obviously I'm just checking on my eggs as well. You can see they are boiling. So yeah, now I'll break in some eggs into my moi moi mix. The eggs act as a sealant. Is that the right word? Like a, what do you call it? Like it makes it fuse together, like a pudding or some sort. Anyways, so I added my vegetable oil, and my mom introduced me to adding palm oil to my moi moi. I don't know why. Apparently, it makes it sweeter. I think so too, but I'm not sure. Anyways, try it and let me know. So I mix it up and then I add my eggs. For this moi moi, I added 3 eggs because the butter wasn't so much. Depending on how moist or how fluffy you want it, the more eggs you add, the more beating you do. So the more whisking rather. You know the way like when you break eggs and whisk it, it makes the thing that you're adding it into more fluffy. Ideally, I should have whisked my eggs separately before adding it to the batter. I guess that will make it more fluffy. Anyways, all these terms I'm not really familiar with, but yeah. So I mix it up and yeah, I just let it sit and then I put it into my tin. So here I put my tin, my washed tin. So this is the tin I used to make moi moi. I don't actually like those moi mois that they make in nylons because obviously we all know that nylons are not good for our health. So I don't really like them. I usually like the leafy one, but due to logistics and having to make sure that the leaves stay fresh, blah 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 blah, the tins are your best friend. The tins are your best friend. So and they're reusable. So I usually like to use the tins. They are washed. I'm putting my moi moi batter. Well, this is not a batter. This is a stream. I'm putting it into the tin, and I'm just making sure that it's the same measurements all through all the tins because obviously you don't want some to be more than the others, except that's what you're trying to do. So I usually like them to be the same, amount in each tin. So that's what I'm doing here. And I'm using this my dip spoon to scoop the liquid into the tins. Anyways, I usually add what they call it, corned beef or fish, but this one I didn't have corned beef at home and I didn't have fish, so I just made did with what I had, which was eggs, and they turned out fine, to be honest. And my son also likes moi moi, so this is what everyone eats in the house. I just had one because I'm not, like I said, I'm not really like a beans girly like that. Except I'm craving it. Anything that has to
And
do
I
with
don't
beans, I
eat
have to
moi
be craving
moi
it to eat it.
that it has been left for a day, or akara. I have to eat it fresh. If it's not fresh, I'm not eating. That's another thing with moi moi. So the eggs are obviously boiled now, and I'm just putting them into the batter. So as it is now, it will mean that one moi moi has half an egg, and that's what I'm just cutting it up. So I'm cutting it into fours and then putting two in each tin, which makes it better, So if it's not, I don't like those whole eggs inside moi moi kind of thing. I like them in little bits, so that at least when you're taking a bite of the moi moi, you're taking it with at least a pinch of an egg or something like that. Yeah, so that's what I'm just doing. And then here I'm done, and I'm just placing it into the pot. You can't see it, but I'll show you guys afterwards. I'm placing it things into a pot. I have this very huge pot that I usually use to make my moi moi, and it fits about 10 tins, but here I have just 8 tins. So that's what I'm doing. So I put them on top of each other, add water for it to be, but you can see there's already water inside the pot, and then for it to be boiling, and I just cover it up and let that steam. And after about 20 to 30 minutes, my moi moi is done, because it usually doesn't take much time, because my moi moi consistency is not thick. So if your moi moi is thicker, then obviously you need a longer time. And we're over to the Akara section. I have these habanero flakes that I buy from Red and Greens butchery. If you live in Lagos, like you might know them. I buy habanero flakes from them. They're really spicy, and I just add that to the mix. So this batter is a thicker consistency, just because you're frying it and you don't want it to spill everywhere. So I usually heat up my oil. You can either use vegetable oil or palm oil. I was feeling more palm oily this time around, and you can see I'm using a flat spoon to scoop it out. You can use like the dipper spoon to scoop it out if you want, but I decided to use a flat spoon for whatever reason I had, whatever. Anyways, so yeah, you can see I'm trying to flip it. This consistency was not the best, because I didn't whisk it as much as my teacher said, which is CCME. CCME said you should whisk this thing, whisk your akara batter to a fault, so that you know that you're having the fluffiest akara ever. But anyway, I didn't whisk it as much, because this was late night stuff, and I just wanted to get it over and done with. And this took about 10 to 15 minutes to fry, because I was frying it on low heat. Anyways, you don't want your akara to get burnt outside and not cook inside. So I was frying it on low heat. You obviously preheat your oil before, and then this is the second batch. And I'm just frying up the last batch now. And our akara is done. I hope you enjoyed this video. Yeah. Anyways, our akara is done. And I'm just gonna straight it. Yeah, this is the finished product. And it looks quite fluffy, and it was not bad. It tasted nice, except for the seasoning that wanted to spoil my show. And then this is the moi moi. Obviously, we're done now, just checking up on it. And 3, 2, 1, voila, the fluffiest moi. It literally looks like a cake. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Bye.